welcome to the One by One Millstream podcast.
Hooray!
Hooray! Today we have Lydia Madsen joining us. Say hello.
Hello.
She is the best. Lydia moved in recently and we snagged her. We were ready for her to come on the podcast.
We got very lucky today. I was like, you know what? New person.
We did get very lucky.
So, it'll be a lot of fun.
We're so happy you're here. Welcome.
Oh, good. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Well, Miss Lydia, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long you been in the ward? Something fun? I don't know, anything you'd wish to share or let people know. Just kind of give a little intro about yourself.
Okay, yes, of course. I've been in the ward about a month now. I am from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I moved up to Provo, feels like a very long time ago, like 7-ish years ago, and I did school there.
Okay.
And then, I moved up here to live in my grandparents' house, so I'm excited to be here.
That's so cool. And I know we talked about this before, but your grandparents, tell us about what your grandparents do and why you're living with them.
Yes, so they are missionaries at the Heber Valley Girls Camp, so when the ward goes, people might be able to meet them. I don't know exactly what that's going to be.
Oh, is that the one we're going to this summer?
Yes. Isn't that insane?
So is she the reason we got the hookups for it?
No.
I wish. No.
Oh, okay. That's funny. Okay.
Are you going up to the camp this year?
I am, yes. I'm planning on going, so. Yes.
I'm missing it. I'm sorry. You guys have fun without me.
Oh, man. It's the best.
So, it'll be a lot of fun.
That's so fun.
I guess kind of a get-to-know-you question would be, if we had to sit here and you had to give us like a 3-hour presentation about something, what would be something that presentation, like it would just be easy for you to make a presentation about because you love it so much? Not 3 hours, but what is something you can just go on about? What is something you love, you're passionate about, like anything? It can be anything. We don't care, of course, if it's appropriate, but you know what I mean. Like, what is something like you can just be like, all right, you open this can of worms, here you go, blech. So what is it?
Oh, that is a great question. I would probably say so. Before I moved here, I worked at a autism center for a really long time, like 5 years, down in Draper. And I just learned so much about the community and I did therapy with them. So I feel like I could talk for hours about like ABA therapy and how important it is and how you can do it with anyone, not just with kids who have autism. And here I go, just starting to talk about it.
No,
so that's probably the topic that I would choose.
That's super cool. Did you say ABA therapy?
Yeah, it's Applied Behavioral Analysis.
Okay.
So
tell me more about that. I'm curious.
Yes, so I worked as a registered behavioral tech, and so I do like one-on-one therapy with them. And we'd have sessions, so I'd have a kid for like 3 hours, and they just have like a list of goals. And most of the time they have like different categories of goals, so like social, academic, sometimes like physical, like fine motor skills if they're like have a hard time writing or things like that.
Okay.
Behavioral goals too, to help reduce like aggressive behaviors or inappropriate behaviors, things like that. And so I would work on these things with them and help them to get better. And then the person who writes the treatment plan is it's a BCBA, it's a board certified behavioral analyst.
Okay.
And long story short, I thought I wanted to do that, so I like applied for a master's program and stuff, and then basically God was like, I don't think you should do this anymore. And I was like, what? And so I ended up quitting my job and moving to Bountiful, and so now we're trying to figure out what's next.
Oh, I love it.
This probably will be too much to like go into for this type of episode, but I just want to have a discussion of how you know like when God's going push. I never know that because people like, I hear stories like that. Like I remember an institute teacher I had was studying to go to special effects in California, and he's going and he has the papers, everything, and all of a sudden he has a feeling like he just can't. He shouldn't. And I'm just like, that's just insane to me. But I don't know. That's another can of worms for a totally different podcast, but I hear stories like that, and I'm just like, that's a lot of trust and a lot of faith. I don't know if no, I can't. I just can't imagine it. I'm not, sorry. I got
That
my
shows
foot
a
in my
lot
mouth.
about you,
It
though.
does, yeah.
That's amazing. I'm glad that you trust God that much to make that big of a decision. Because, like, this isn't our official question, but I'm curious, like, when you felt that way, like, were you freaked out? Or, like, how did you manage
I mean, probably was.
I mean, I feel like God prepped me. Like,
Okay.
I feel like a couple months before in November, I went to the temple, and it was just kind of like a thought that I wasn't going to ask him about my job or what I should do, right? Because this has been the plan. This was the plan for like 2 or 3 years, like while I was getting my bachelor's and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So not even in my mind. And I feel like God was kind of like, hey, like, maybe you should quit your job. And I was like, what? And I feel like I kind of freaked out, and God was like, you don't have to. Just like think about it. And I was like, what?
Okay.
And then, yeah. And then like a couple of months went by, and just like some things lined up. Like I think God knows what we need, right?
Yeah.
And so he knew that I needed more than just a feeling. And so I had just some very specific experiences where my aunt like texted me this whole thing one day, not even about my job, but about leaving behind. It was like this quote about like leaving behind things that we love, like,
Oh, wow.
so that God can prevail in our lives or something, right? Like it was some kind of general conference quote, not from that talk, but that's a good talk. And she was just like, I was just thinking about you. Like, she had no idea I was thinking about quitting my job, like no idea. So just like little things like that. I had a really good talk with my boss. Like, I didn't just want to like totally walk away from everything I had done,
Right.
just based on a feeling, right? Like I needed like to study it out a little more and know some things. So
Yeah.
I talked to my boss about how she had like become a BCBA and what her path was, and just like the things that stood out to me in her story. I was like, oh my goodness, like she had left behind something she thought she wanted to do for a long time and had found ABA therapy. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, that's the experience that I'm having, but with this job. And so yeah, just things like that, and a couple other like, just like from reading my scriptures and praying and stuff, right? Just kind of maybe the little nudges too were also there. So
So
eventually I was like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I love that.
Love it.
It's true. God doesn't just leave us to hang dry. He prepares us in little ways.
I don't want to sit, because again, I know this is like a tangent, and everyone listening is going to be like, wow, she's getting special attention, but this question's making me like, whoa.
We are invested.
But I'm just like, because I don't want to sit here and be all like, why did you quit college? I'm like, I don't know, but I don't know. Just makes me laugh, because it's like I just didn't feel like it was right for me, and I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and be like, God told me to be a dropout. I don't know.
It's true.
I don't know. Now everyone's judging. Y'all know I'm a dropout. It's okay. It's all right. I'm happy.
You're all whatever. We all have our own paths. I think that's great. Well, our next question, and this ties perfectly with you talking about your aunt, and it doesn't have to be your aunt, but who inspires you to become a better version of yourself, and how do they inspire you? Besides Jesus.
Jesus, yes, he's the best. I mean, I feel like the go-to answer, and the answer that I have to say, is my mom. Like,
Aw.
she is just the most amazing person. She is very, very service-oriented, and she'll talk to anyone about anything, and that helps her a lot, right? To make friends and to, like, get to know people and get to know what they need. But I feel like every time I get to go home, she's like, yeah, so I'm making dinner for this family, but we got to run over, and I bought flowers for this lady whose dog died. And just like all these things that just like, and usually nothing huge, right? And most of the time I feel like lots of her service is the conversations that she has with people and like seeking to understand them, right? Because that's, I think, a necessity that everyone needs, is to be seen and to be heard. And so she just does an amazing job in doing that. And so she inspires me to also do that, and to yeah, be a better person, be a good person.
That's so sweet.
Love it.
I love that.
Well, I got nothing to say. I think mom is always a good answer, and a lot of people might think of their moms, and I definitely think my mom is one of them. So it's a good answer, and I won't judge anyone for ever saying their mom inspires them.
No. Well,
Love it.
You reflect that so well. Like, you talking about your mom in that way, I'm like, oh, that's Lydia. You know?
Oh, you're so sweet.
Yeah, seriously. In the month you've been here, Lydia's like all in. You're just so sweet, and you want to talk to everyone and make everyone feel seen. So you're really good.
I was really surprised you agreed. I was like, out of a whim, here you go. Would you mind helping fill this 4 o'clock appointment that dipped on us? And you're like, sure. I'm like, thank you.
You're serving us right now.
Oh, good.
Well, Miss Lydia, thank you for coming in and talking to us. That's like I said, it's like a 10-minute thing. We didn't take much of your time, but it still means a lot that you came. So thank you.
Yes, thank you guys.
You're the best.
And for everyone else, we will each try to get you one by one, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.